Hello and welcome everyone to episode 64 of Video Game Club. As always, I am your host, Tyler, and I have with me today the Blade of Ara, Austin.
Hello. 64.
I know, it's such a good number.
Nintendo 64.
I know. It's exciting. And it would not be a Video Game Club episode without our own Fidget, the OP weapon, Mox.
Thank you.
I'm sad we're not doing an N64 game on the 64th episode.
We were so close.
So close.
Okay.
Yet so
Well,
far
we'll
away.
announce it.
That's
Yeah,
true.
that's true.
That is true. As long as the vote doesn't get sabotaged in an hour. We'll see.
I'm keeping an eye on it. You never know.
Nice. Mox, how you been?
I've been good. You, well, I guess you'll ask me in a little bit. But you
I'm asking.
gifted
Go
me
for it.
a short hike.
I did.
And you were like, this is right up your alley. And I said, I've never heard of it, but I trust you, even though sometimes you've been
I'm
like,
wrong.
oh, I thought that game would be right up your alley, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
But it's just like, honestly, the cutest game I've ever played. It was not what I
Mhm.
expected. And the goal is to complete a hike, but there's so much you can do along the way. And I completed the hike, and then I realized I don't want to complete the hike yet. And so I just closed out of the game. And I don't know if it auto saves, but I'm excited to start it all over again and play it. And then at the very end, get to do the short hike.
Yeah.
It's just really nice. Thank you.
Of course, it's super lovely. I actually 100%ed it, like got all achievements, everything fairly recently. It's really good.
It seems so rewarding to do that too. And the little like achievements I got along the way were like, oh my gosh, that's adorable. Anyway,
Yes.
it's
yes.
adorable.
Have you
It's
been
crazy
playing
that
anything
it
else?
started off as a humble original.
Yeah. Yeah, it did.
I don't know what that means. Does that
So
just
Humble,
mean? Oh,
back when they did like Humble Monthly, and I guess kind of when they were starting to do Humble Choice as well, you'd get your Steam games, and then there would be one extra game that Humble would just like pay somebody to make, and you would only be able to download it through Humble, you could only acquire it from getting that bundle. It was usually something small, kind of experimental, something that wouldn't necessarily be on Steam, but some of them were so good that they ended up coming out on Steam pretty shortly after that. Like Kind Words was one of them. Trying to think of some of the other big ones.
Didn't they like help with? Well, I know they came out with like a demo of Forager. I think
Forager had so sometimes they would do sneak peeks, and Forager had a sneak peek. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's
Yeah.
a cute game too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm glad that they let it come out of Humble because I need to play it.
Oh,
Yeah.
The other game, which I hope Tyler's also playing, is Pocket Card Jockey on the Apple Arcade, which is such a horrible place to put it because you're really restricting it to people who have iPhones, and then further people willing to pay for like not the best games. It really just seems like it's made for people who let their kids be on iPads and don't want to worry about having a lot of in-app purchases that would probably pay for Apple Arcade.
Yeah.
But it is just such a good remake, and I hope they call back to it and they let you say if you played the other one, and then they say, welcome back, we're so glad to have you. And
Aw.
it's just adorable. And I loved Pocket Card Jockey on the 3DS,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm so glad it's on my phone, and it has like the same nostalgia, and it looks great, and like they upgraded the race segments to be like this kind of 3D thing, which is just pretty.
Oh, nice.
It doesn't do anything special. It's just so cute. I just can't get enough of it.
I have not played it yet, but Ashley has an iPad now, and I kind of want to play it on there instead of my phone.
It's good anywhere, but on the iPad, I bet it would be even better.
Yeah, but I love the 3DS version.
It's so good.
It is so good.
When does the eShop close? I thought it was in March. Get it before then. If you have a 3DS.
Austin.
I already picked it up. I
You
picked it
did?
up before they
Yay.
got rid of the credit card purchases.
Yay!
Yay.
Nice. That's fun. Well, so it's
I have
super
not started it,
eligible.
but
It's super
I have
eligible for a pick now.
Yes.
Austin, what have you been playing?
So I finished this Dust after like a week. So
Mhm.
the last week I've had more time to play some game. Not like a ton of time because I've got a kid, but
No.
I picked up I picked up the remaining games from Team Ladybug. So they did Toho Luna Nights, and they had 2 other games in that pack. It was Draenus and Records of Lodos War, Deedlit, and Wonder Labyrinth. Which is, I picked it up because of that game, but I ended up playing Draenus first, and that was pretty cool. I finished that. It's like a side-scrolling shoot 'em up, but you can absorb enemy bullets, and anyways, it was fun. I finished Elden Ring. I never thought that I would, but I finally did.
How many hours?
120, I think.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And we were like, me and my buddies that I'm playing with, we were so close to finishing, and then all of a sudden one of them was like, you know what, we should go fight Millennia. And I was like,
oh my God.
Okay. So that was like another several hour trek in a different direction, because we hadn't like even found her yet, so we had to go figure out where she was. But we managed to beat her, and that was cool. I hadn't seen that fight before, like I hadn't watched any of the videos on it, so like that was all brand new to me, which was cool. And we finished it. I started and finished Spider-Man Miles Morales. That was fine. Tyler gifted me Assemble with Care. Finished that. That was great. That was a lovely little game. Thank you, Tyler. And I started God of War, and I also started Say No More, which Andron gifted me.
Wow.
Nice.
Is he telling you something?
Maybe.
Nice. And you started Banjo, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, if it's a game I've played before, I don't really like track it, but
okay.
I did start Banjo-Kazooie because it looks like that's probably going to win the vote. But if it doesn't, then oh well, I got to play some Banjo-Kazooie, so.
Yeah. I'm continuing to work on Neon White. I'm trying to do all the gifts and everything. I just finished the rocket launcher area, like that's those set of levels. And those gifts, because they has those skyscrapers and stuff.
Those were rough.
That was the first time I legit was like, I'm just going to look at a guide for one of these, because I have no idea where it is.
Yeah.
And it makes like a little sound when you're near it, but
they're so far away.
Yeah,
and the levels are so big.
Yeah. Then I've been slowly chipping away at Live Alive, and I'm on the second. It has like, a set of stories. I think it's 7, and then there's one at the end. And I did one all the way through, and now I'm working on another one. And something pretty crazy happened, and I legit shed tears, which is like, I think the last time I did that playing an RPG was probably Dragon Quest XI at the part that you guys know. So I'm not gonna spoil it, but I was just like, what? This is happening? Like, this is legit happening right now? And then not only did I start Banjo-Kazooie, because I finished Dust a little early, but I have 100% completed it. Every puzzle, every jiggy, every note. I did all the things.
All the honeycombs.
All the honeycombs, the whole bit. And I hope that wins so that we can discuss it, because I am looking forward to discussing that and how that contrasts with Banjo-Tooie. And Mox, when's the last time you've played it? Kazooie?
Banjo-Kazooie?
Yeah.
Gosh. Decades.
Wow. I'm curious how you're going to...
I'm not going to play the same version you guys. I assume you both played the Xbox, upgraded version. I'm going to play the Switch,
Tyler.
Sadly.
Go lend Mox your Xbox.
Yeah, I will. I have a spare one, actually.
Oh my God.
I'm not even kidding you. I'll bring it. I'm going to drop off my Xbox. Yeah, we're trading...
Oh my goodness.
I'll give you I have an Xbox One X that's just collecting dust. I'll give it...
Play with the quality of life improvements.
Yep. I would really
I
like
have to convince you that Kazooie's better than Tooie.
Well,
all I ask is to borrow Professor Layton.
Well, I have everyone, so you just pick anyone. Because you had said that they improved it by letting the notes stay gone, which was 90% of the reason I enjoyed Tooie over Kazooie, because I hated that part of Kazooie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which, if they fix that, then that's a horse of a different color.
Yep. Yeah, I could totally. I'll drop that off to you.
Oh my goodness. I've never played an Xbox.
Well, it'll be fun.
Say that after.
We'll set up you an account, get them achievements.
Oh my goodness.
You
It's
know.
a lot. It's overwhelming.
Now, before we get started talking about Dust and Elysian Tale, this is Video Game Club, where usually every 2 weeks we discuss a game voted on by our wonderful friends in the Bombchu Discord and discuss that game right here on twitch.tv/BombchuTV. If you can't catch us live, don't worry. You can find us on YouTube, all major podcast services. Just search Bombchu Video Game Club. You'll find it. And if you like what you're hearing, please consider subscribing, rating, commenting, all those fun things. And also, please, if you want to nominate something for us to play, there's a nominations channel in the Discord. Please write your game there. We have some really good nominations, and we're going to start, we're going to do our first, we've looked at the nominations, but we're going to do one where it's just user nominations after this next vote. So after whatever wins this next vote, the next one. So get your nominations in. So the nominations for this episode were the BS Zelda no Densetsu, which is the Zelda 1 remake for Satellaview, right?
Mm-hmm.
Worms Armageddon, and Dust and Elysian Tale. Did anyone try to play the BS Zelda?
No.
I did not.
No, okay, same.
It didn't win.
I know, but I know that you were kind of curious, Mox, about it. That's why.
Well, if I would have played it, if it would have won. The
Well,
people have chosen.
That's fair. That's fair. So the people chose Dust and Elysian Tale, TAIL.
Yes.
Yes. It's a 2D Metroidvania action-adventure game developed by Humble Hearts, which, from what I could tell, is just a solo dev named Dean Dojo. He also made another game called Never Stop Sneakin'. It looked pretty cool. It was on Switch, I saw. And he's working on an unannounced project right now. He is half Korean, and there's a lot of little Korean influences in the game. So that's why that is the way that it is. And he, man, a little interesting thing about. Actually, I talk about this later, so I'm not going to talk about it right now. Anyway, it was published by Microsoft Studios. It's an XNA game. So XNA was a game engine that Microsoft pushed for during the 360 era. I'm pretty sure, and it was to help promote indies to get their games on 360. There's a lot of XBLA games that were in XNA.
Fez was made in XNA, which is probably why it took so many years to get made. And
then there was a bunch of really, really indie games that were made, right? Like that.
Yeah, so there was XBLA, and then there was a section below that was separate, where it was just called indies.
Yeah.
And they couldn't have achievements or anything like that. And they were usually they were kind of a lower quality kind of game. It was a lower bar for getting them on there.
Yeah.
This was actually supposed to be one of those indies.
What I'm a little peeved about is that this game is not backwards compatible. So
yeah.
With what?
So the 360 version doesn't work on the new Xboxes.
And that, now that we know that makes more sense why Fez is not backwards compatible either.
That's true.
Because Microsoft just, at some point, they were like, no, we don't support XNA anymore at all.
Their own platform?
Their own platform.
Yeah, it's weird.
They just shit-canned it.
Yeah. I know. It's really weird.
Sad.
Yeah.
It was the right move, because it was a very bad framework. I made a game in XNA in college, and it's it was cool to be able to make something, and it can run on PC and Xbox, boom, there it goes.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it's bad. It's bad.
I didn't know you made that controller vibration game. That was you?
No, but ours did not go onto the marketplace. It was not good enough to make it to the indies status.
So, like we mentioned, this was released on Xbox 360 August 15th, 2012. A year later, coming to PC, Mac, and Linux. And then a year after that, it came to PS4. And then a year after that, it came to iOS. And then in 2018, it came to Switch. So it's out on a lot of different platforms. Mm-hmm.
I didn't know about all of that.
Yeah.
Good for that guy.
The interesting thing that I think, Austin, you discovered is that the Linux version, it's it's very separate. And like if you use Steam, you can't copy over your save, right? Or you have to copy it over. There's no cloud.
So some games on Steam will not, like their Steam Cloud saves are separated by platform, and this is one of those games. And I don't know why, because the save file on Windows works in Linux and vice versa.
Yeah.
So it seems kind of arbitrary that it was decided to do that. But yeah, I could. One of the solutions when you run into that problem is, just run the Windows version, and I could not get the Windows version to run on Steam Deck. No matter what I tried, so I ended up having to go dig up and figure out where the save file was and
copy it over.
Get it moved into the right place on my deck.
And then
but how cool that it's Linux native. That doesn't happen often.
Yeah,
sure, for sure. And even when something has a native Linux port, it's usually like for a very specific build of Linux, or version of Linux, and like it ends up not working on Steam Deck anyways. But this is one that just straight up worked. I had no idea that I was running a native version.
I'm pretty sure Short Hike has a native Linux version. Mox.
It's beautiful enough I couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah, it is a great game. Okay.
I appreciate when the devs do stuff like that. Like, I mean, before even the Steam Deck, that means they're including other people who might not be able to pay for Windows, legit copies, which is very nice.
Or like make it available on Mac as well. That's also really nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those people are probably not hurting for money.
Probably not. So 2012, we had the PS Vita come to North America.
Oh, the Vita.
Yep.
Every time I hear someone say the words PS Vita, like with the tone going up, I think of that scene in House of Cards.
Oh, yeah, that's why I say it that way. Is that a PS Vita? The 3DS XL and the Wii U.
What a year.
Yep.
What a year.
So we saw, some pretty decent games like Persona 4 Golden, Super Hexagon, Journey, Dishonored,
oh my God.
Borderlands 2, Far Cry 3.
These feelings that are happening.
Mark of the Ninja, Cave Story, and many more, including at least one game we have played already.
Metal Gear Rising?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
It's possible, but I don't think so.
Maybe pre-orders went up in 2012.
Mox, any guesses?
No, I have no idea.
Fez.
Oh, I didn't play that one.
Yeah. What?
It was so long ago.
Oh, okay. So it got 7s and 8s. People really liked the animation, the detailed environments, the visuals, just overall, the responsive controls. People weren't a big fan of the story and voice acting.
Oh, really?
They found the combat pretty repetitive, and the boss battles were a bit of a letdown.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I kind of disagree. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah. I can see you disagreeing in the story because the story had highlights for me. I'll say that. Okay, so it is time to discuss, starting with the gameplay. So yeah, a little overview. 2D side scroller, like we already mentioned. You control the main character, who's named Dust. He wields a sentient sword, and that sword has a guardian called Fidget. The sword is more used for close range combat, and Fidget is more used for long range combat. You unlock power ups as you go along, and everyone beat this, right? Mox, you fully okay. Double jump is at the very end, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's like the second or third to last power.
That's a big bummer.
Mm-hmm.
That was not a... Go ahead, Mox.
Isn't that the spirit of the Vanias is like, oh, you can't access this area. You must backtrack.
Yes.
For sure.
Definitely.
It's just usually double jump is one of the earlier ones because in a game where traversal and movement is like a big part of it, double jump is usually one of your earlier powers because like it's a fun mechanic.
Yeah. And you could use it to dodge or jump higher to do wind attacks and stuff like that. It would have been pretty
cool. No, not allowed. No fun allowed.
No fun. You get XP and you can level up. You can only level up, I think it's 5 times past the lowest stat that you have. So there's like
4.
Oh, 4. Okay.
Yeah, all your stats have to be within 4 of each other.
Which
I was very happy with that. I leveled mine up uniformly the entire game.
Really?
Yes.
What level were you when you finished? Do you remember?
40.
40? Dang.
Wow.
Girl, you played.
I spent a lot of time. I wanted to get the best gear, which you needed to farm this certain drop. And then it was never dropping. And I was getting like a level. And then like 5 minutes of farming later, another level. I was like, ugh, this is a waste of my time.
Dang.
I didn't need the armor by that point.
So the whole time you leveled everything up evenly?
Yes.
Wow.
I can tell you the order. It was defense,
Please
fidget,
do.
attack, HP.
Okay. In that order every time.
Fidget, attack, HP. Yes.
Nice. Usually I go big health, but I went full attack until I couldn't do attack anymore. And then I went fidget until I couldn't do fidget anymore. And then I went health. And then defense. What about you, Austin?
I did full attack because one thing I really liked was like when you would level up and put a point into a skill, it was not like an incremental upgrade. It was like, hey, this is going up by a ton. And then the next level would be like, it's going up by way more than last time, which was nice. So like, I really felt like a huge power increase anytime I did that.
Which is what you should feel in like an RPG, like with RPG elements like that. Yeah.
The equips were the same way, like plus 800 attack. Like, oh,
okay.
I can't afford not to equip this.
So I focused on attack, and then defense was kind of secondary for me, and then everything else I would kind of keep up the rear, just when I'd level them up when I had to. And then I reached a point in the game where you cannot progress without using fidget to kill something, and fidget was my lowest score by far.
You missed out.
It just took forever. So I finally started putting points into fidget to help with that. And
turns out fidget's
I
OP.
still focused on attack, but fidget became more of a priority after that.
There's NPCs around that give you quests and stores where you can buy stuff, and then you can register materials at the store, and then they'll have them in stock, which is a pretty neat little mechanic.
Yeah, I liked that.
Mox, what'd you think about, like, how much side questing did you do with the NPCs?
I did all of them except one.
Whoa!
Which is Combo Breaker. And once you get too powerful, you can get like this item that makes you weak again, but it's just not fun to go for a high combo.
Yeah, I also didn't find the comboing system very fun either.
Yeah.
Were there any stories that stood out to you, or were they mainly just like fetch quests, go do this, do that, like the beginning were?
They were... there was no like, oh wow, this is a story, interesting quest. Yeah, no. They were all just kind of basic.
Yeah.
I already know what your answer is going to be, but did you put the poison oak into the guy's pants?
I did both, because you can. They let you save.
I didn't know you could do both.
It's so easy. Saving is everywhere. So I just saved before I made the choice, because I save anytime I pass a save shrine. So I didn't even have to think about this.
Right.
I went to, and they make you make a choice. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just reset. But I did do the poison as the final choice I made.
Oh, I didn't expect that to be your final choice.
That guy was a jerk.
He was a jerk.
He was.
I did the exact same thing as you, Mox. I did goody two shoes, got the achievement, and then I did poison oak or whatever.
I liked those. The good one is called Paragon, and the bad one is called Renegade.
Yeah. Oh yeah. From Mass Effect. It's pretty cool.
Yes. There were a lot of references, 1,000 references to other video games in this game.
Yeah.
Oh.
Especially with the buddies.
Yes.
With the buddies?
My favorite buddy. Yeah. What?
Did you unlock any of the buddies?
Oh, yeah. I got, like, Meat Boy, for example. Yeah.
My favorite one was the Bastion one. It has you... That's the one that requires you get every single one of the... I don't remember if we're in gameplay. You have to get... Okay. You have to get, like, resonance stones of different colors that open... Oh, you guys wouldn't have gotten this one, I guess. They open, like, little... pillars of the certain color, and some of them you acquire in just doing the story, but there's one area in, I think, Archer Hill or whatever it was called, that requires every single resonance stone, including the one from the last area, which you get, and then they're like, okay, this is the point of no return, are you sure you're ready? And I said, no, I need to go back and use this. And then there was one more quest where you get a rainbow resonance stone. And then, but as you're traversing this area, unlocking all these pillars, like the ground appears beneath you, just like it does in Bastion, and they're all little squares. And then
that's so cool.
Is him? He's in a little box.
That's so cool.
That's cool.
Does they all give you the same like little health increase?
No, some of them, like, one's a health, another one was like attack, one was defense.
Oh, okay.
Like, I think it's always 5% though.
Both I found were health, and they were 5%. I like that they have a little sanctuary. You can go visit them.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
I liked the braid one where the time only passed while you were moving in this certain area. And then I forgot what story. I didn't know what video game this one was from, but it was like a rose area, which was pretty scary and creepy to go to. All right, keep going.
It wasn't a Scarlet Nexus reference to the scary monsters with the
It's
roses on their heads.
No, it's way too past that.
Now
I think about it, I don't even know.
So, Mox, overall, do you feel like you really enjoyed the gameplay overall? Yeah.
I will say I got frustrated when I was trying to get combos because something will just snipe you out of nowhere. It's not clear what attacks you. There's nothing to learn about that either. And then there were times where I really wanted to get up in an elevation by cheating using the dust storm ability.
Yeah.
And it was great, and I was mostly able to do that. But there were times I didn't want to go flying all the way across the map, but still use dust storm, and I flew all the way across the map, and I didn't want to do that.
That's very true. What about you, Austin? Overall,
so the combat was okay. Like I liked the scaling when you were leveling up, and it felt good to get gear. There was a reason to want to go out of your way for chests, and the material system was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I got powerful enough. Maybe I was playing on too low of a difficulty, but I got powerful enough that anytime they were like, "Here's a side area you can go to," I was like, "Yeah, no, thank you." I'm just not going to do that. There's a lot of combat in this game. Like, enemies are everywhere,
and they respawn.
That's why I put such a focus on attack, because I wanted to clear through them pretty quickly. And there were lots of moves you could do, but I found myself ending up just using a 1-2-3 combo, because it ended up being a lot faster than being like, okay, well, I'm going to launch you into the air, I'm going to drive you down into the ground, and that just made everything scatter. Enemies will leap into the background as you're going to attack them, or as they're trying to get closer to you. It's like, no, I just want to fight you, and now I have to turn around, and then they leap past you. It's like, oh my god, please, I just want this fight to be over. I had a problem where Dust would focus on something that he shouldn't be. And so I'd be pushing in a direction to attack, and he would attack the other direction. He'd be like, no, there's an enemy over that way that I really want to fight.
Right.
And they're way further away than the one that's in the direction you're pushing, but they're there, and I'm focusing on them, so I'm going to slash behind me. Or I'd be trying to fight a boss, and had my back up against one of the doors that you need to blow up with an explosive, and Dust would just be like, nah, I'm going to turn around and try to hit this door. And bounce off of it. No, I don't want to do that. I had the same problem you did, Mox, where I would try to use my dust storm, but I would need to be jumping because the ground was just flooded with enemies, and so then I would go flying, and I didn't want to do that. There's regen and the stuff that you can unlock, but it's so far into the game where I didn't really even need it anymore. That early it would have been nice. Just because you have to keep stocking up on healing items, and early on I got lit on fire, and it was just okay, well, that ate through my entire health bar, I'll heal. Okay, that still ate through my health bar,
I'll heal again. Yeah. I went through a lot of consumables that way.
Yeah, and the cost of healing items scales up with a lot more than the actual amount that they heal you for.
That's not true. It was always 40 per point, but that is so expensive.
Oh.
Well, so so it was more cost effective to get something that healed you for less and just use more of it than it was to just get something that would actually heal you the proper amount. And I thought that was really stupid. It was just okay, this is just adding tedium.
I didn't do the math.
Did y'all go back to the blacksmith ever after visiting the first time?
No.
Well, I didn't have to because you could get a transponder, so
Yeah.
you didn't
Same.
have to deal with her.
You get the transponder, and she's like, so now you can do that, but hey, you should still come visit me sometimes.
Mhm.
I visited her
And
once.
I was
felt
like,
bad.
why would I ever come back
Oh.
up here?
I felt bad. I wanted to see if I would get something. There was nothing. Her
Oh,
brother's
I
a
think-
jerk.
yeah.
I think for when it came out, it's like Metroidvanias now are really, like, you can find them everywhere. But
Dime a
I'm
dozen.
trying to think back to 2012, and I don't think they were quite as big at the time.
Yeah.
So to see an indie title making a Metroidvania like this, like, and especially for when it came out, like, and the the horribleness of XNA, like, I'm impressed with what they were able to put together, especially for that time.
hmm
But some of it is started to show its age. Like, if you're trying to craft an item that you don't have the materials for, then it takes you to another menu where you can buy them. But then
You can only buy a certain amount.
you can only buy a certain amount,
Well,
and
that's
then, like,
related
when
to
you back
restocks.
out, it doesn't show
Yeah.
you the amount that you need from the other stuff. So it's like, do I have enough to buy all of the items I need? I don't know. Or there were certain things. It was like, oh, I think if you were just trying to straight up buy equipment, or there was some scenario where if you were looking at equipment that you wanted to acquire or craft, I can't remember which, it would not show you the details of how it would change your stats.
No, never.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
And it was like, okay, like, if you already had it and you were ready to equip it, it would show you.
Right.
But it was like, okay, I want to see. There's, like, lots of little quality of life things that
It was
now would be a no-brainer, but, like, at the time, I see why, like, the UI would have been difficult to make that work. But man, it's little things that drove me nuts.
if you equipped something that he didn't sell, it's like you didn't have anything on, and so it wouldn't
Yeah.
compare anything.
Yep. That was really frustrating.
Wait, I was looking up what character it was that spooked me with the rose, and it was Yuki from Dishwasher, the Vampire Chronicle, or something like
I was
that.
gonna say
Vampire Smile,
Dishwasher,
sorry.
the
Never
Dead
heard of it.
Samurai, but it's dude, that I'm not gonna go on this for a long time, but it's a very cool game, and it has support for you can hook up, like, a Guitar Hero controller
Oh my God.
for a second player, and they can show up as a guitar in the game, and, like, they can strum different things to do
What?
effects for you. It's totally optional, but they can be like, all right, I'm gonna strum this string of notes, and that'll heal you, or I'll do this and it'll attack the enemy. Dope game, really cool, awesome.
Wow.
You should definitely, if it's backwards compatible, you should try that.
Well,
at
it's
some point, Tyler.
XNA. And you know what?
Is that
so
also
is Brave.
XNA? Oh.
And so
Yep,
is
so is
Fez.
Brave.
And so is Bastion.
And so is Meat
Oh
Boy.
my god,
Yeah.
every single one of the games this thing is Super Meat Boy,
Mhm.
XNA 2? I don't
Pretty sure.
understand. It's a conspiracy. It's bizarre.
They're all friends. Everyone's
I
here.
know.
Everybody's here. Gosh.
Wait, and then and while we're still in gameplay, the biggest skip that the speed run does, which I was worried because I forgot to do it until we were prepping for this episode, and I thought, oh god, will I have enough time to watch it? Well, I had far too much time. It was a 25-minute run, and because as soon as you get to a new area, which you do have to, like, play enough to get to the new area, if you hover your cursor in the map over the invisible spot where eventually there will be a teleporter pad, you can teleport there, which is just breaks the game. And so, like, half the game is the player, the speedrunner going to a level where they can get to the very top of the level just to be there, and then as soon as they switch to a different map, when they cheat and get to the point in the map that they haven't even been to yet but somehow can teleport to, well, they're at the top of the map, they can go exactly where they need to 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So funny.
All right, visuals. It's time. A little history first. So the developer Dean, he worked on Jazz Jackrabbit 2 and did artwork in cinematics.
Is that an XNA game?
No, it's
No, that's like an EA game.
older
Oh.
EA game, yeah. And he was in the process of creating an animated film called Elysian Tale, Mox.
Wow.
Just Elysian Tale. That's all it's called. And from what I read on his website, which is very interesting to look at because it's very dated now, but that Elysian Tale was supposed to be like it's supposed to be like a bigger thing. And, like, that's why it's dust, like an Elysian Tale. It's like part of, like, the Elysian Tale universe, basically. And the goal was to have other things as well. And also, the game was originally going to be an 8-bit Metroidvania game.
Oh.
Oh,
I would not
damn.
have played
So-
it if it looked like that.
So visuals are really vibrant in this game, really colorful. It kind of has like an anime-esque style to it.
Yeah.
I thought, for me personally, I thought this was one of the better parts of the game, like the visuals and art style. I think it just looks really, really good and really pretty, especially when it rains and when it starts storming, and I don't know, you could see the trees moving and stuff like that. It was like really moody and nice. I really liked it. I really liked the title screen too. I thought it was just, I don't know, it looked really good on Steam Deck. I played the whole thing on there. It looked good. What'd you guys think of the visuals, Mox? What'd you think?
I think it was good. It didn't look outdated to me. I liked
Same.
the backgrounds, how, I don't know what it's called anymore. Parallaxing, kind of. Like, the background, moves slower than the stuff you moved around.
Oh, yeah.
And, it, even though it's 2D, it, like, at one point you walk around a pond, and you can go over it or under it, and it's cute. There's a pond, even though it's a 2D kind of world. It was fun.
Yeah.
Not the worst.
Austin? Austin?
I played
Yes.
I played the first hour on my desktop to record it.
Okay. I feel like you're adding some background for a reason. Go ahead.
Well, so I was not playing that first hour on a small screen.
Okay.
I was playing it on my computer monitor. And when you I can't call them character portraits because they're not character portraits, but like the character artwork during dialogue that like it gets big and shows up and like while they're talking is very blurry and super low quality.
Huh.
And I think it was intended to be ran at a much lower resolution. Like on Steam Deck, it wasn't very noticeable, but on desktop, oh my god, it was very noticeable. It looked really, really, really bad. So that that definitely stood out to me. I'm trying to think of anything else visually that I would like to talk about. All of the
Gosh.
There would be little noises while I was going around doing things, and like a tiny little text would come up. This is while I was playing on Steam Deck, and I'd be like, "What happened? I don't know.
I
That
have
was
no
too
idea.
small. I can't tell what that was."
There were so many audio cues that I still have no idea what they represented.
Yeah,
Yep,
same.
I no idea. And maybe that's a sound issue, but also like visually I couldn't make sense of what was going on. To like the visuals weren't helping me with that. I mean, like in terms of performance wise, like it worked well, like everything ran smoothly. But also I was able to run this at 1080p when I would dock it like on Steam Deck, no issue. So that was nice. Like performance was very nice. But man, this type of art style I've never like loved because it carries kind of like a cheap feeling quality to it. Like I get why a lot of indie devs from this era were using an art style like this. It totally makes sense. I'm not going to count it against it, but like also it's not something that I like. So I'm not going to be like, yeah, I loved it because I didn't.
Okay.
I get it, but I don't love it.
Okay, that's fair. Moving on to the audio. The soundtrack was composed by Hyperduck Soundworks and Alexander Brandon. Alexander, he did contract audio for Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. He's worked on the Deus Ex series, Vigilante 8, and Vigilante 8 Second Offense, or Offense, whatever it is. You know what I'm talking about, Austin? 64 games?
I have never heard of Vigilante 8.
Neither.
Yeah, okay. Dang.
You were hyping it up. I was like, "Are you okay? Tell us about it. What is it?"
When you said that, I did not expect that to be an N64
It's
game.
like a Twisted Metal type game.
Oh,
okay.
For 64, yeah. He also did the
Tropical
sound
Freeze had good music.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what contract audio means, though. Like,
So, like, David Wise was doing the main audio for it.
Yeah.
I think it sounds like he was hired on to just be like, hey, we need you to make audio that sounds like this.
Whenever you smash a box, we want it to sound like this. He also worked on the sound design for Wasteland 2. Hyperduck Soundworks, they worked on the soundtracks for Fate Tactics, Eastward, The Adventure Pals, Kingdom Rush Frontiers. So they've done a lot of indie stuff. Those games are, of course, After Dust and Elysian Tale. I really liked the main theme of the game, but the rest, I was just kind of like, What about you, Austin? What do you think?
I agree. I would, if a game has good music, I will try to play it with audio on when I'm playing on my Steam Deck.
You turned it off.
This was one where I was like, I can safely play this in the room while my baby is sleeping. No issues there. And on top of the music being kind of whatever, I agree with the critics. The voice acting was pretty cringe.
Yeah.
It like, again, I get why it sounds the way it does. Like, it fits for the era that it came out of, and where it was like, oh, we can make this story whatever we want, and we've just got friends doing our voice acting for us, or at least like some games. Maybe that's not the situation here, but like it's come a long way since then, and a lot of the voice acting in here, I was just like, oh my god, I'll just read this and skip ahead.
Oh my goodness. I've been playing Fire Emblem Engage at Tyler's recommendation.
Yeah.
And I had it in Japanese, which I do like. I prefer, especially because then the mouthing matches what's being spoken. But then I didn't like how I can never tell what was being said while I was cleaning the rings, And I need to know what is being said when I'm cleaning the rings.
Okay.
And if you play Fire Emblem Engage, you will know exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So I switched it back to English, and I've been playing Dust at the same time. I think the Dust voice acting is better than Fire Emblem Engage. I would easily say that. I feel like people actually put personality into what they're saying in Dust. All I hear in Fire Emblem Engage is, oh, that voice actress sounds like from this other game. And that's it. They don't
Queen.
sound like they're acting.
Jeez.
I think a big part of my problem with the voice acting in Dust is probably due to the script, because like a lot of the dialogue is kind of stupid.
I thought the story was nice to get there.
The story is fine. A lot of the moment-to-moment dialogue is dumb. Like, a lot of what Fidget says is just like, hey, I'm an indie dev. I can write whatever I want here. Haha, let's have a laugh. This will be funny to me. And it's like, some of that humor has not aged very well, I think, personally. Maybe I'm alone there.
Mox, would you listen to the soundtrack of this on its own?
If you put a gun to my head and said hum 3 bars from any song in this game, and I've played 17 hours of this game, I could not do that for you.
I'll take that as a no. A no.
It's a no.
What about you, Austin?
No, there is a vinyl for this game.
No.
And
no,
I've
not.
seen it show up in like the main
is it?
group
if it's
a couple
blue,
of times.
You have to get it.
I think it's just black.
What?
Not worth it.
But like every time it's shown up, I've been like, no, I'm not picking that up. And I think it very rarely shows up because I don't think that many people have it, and it still doesn't, like, either people don't buy it or it doesn't go for much money because nobody wants it.
Yeah. So
in a scene where like all the rare records go for hundreds to thousands of dollars. It's crazy.
A little background, a little behind the scenes. So whenever I prep the script, I usually put the soundtrack of whatever game it is on the background just to listen to. And this one in particular, I looked at the comments, which I usually don't because I'm usually like listening to it on YouTube or something. And they had to like police the comments because there was some really negative stuff being said, apparently. I don't know what it's about, but I was just like, what in the world? So I don't know if people were bashing it or what, but
I don't tune in to the stream because I worry it'll crash my internet. I don't want to deal with that. But if you played a song right now over this and said, is this from Dust or is this not from Dust? I could not tell you.
One time we'll have to do a quiz show like that. It'd be pretty fun, probably.
No. Oh, you should do it during the Banjo-Kazooie episode.
Oh, yeah, it could. That makes genius, Mox.
Should have
Absolute
had
genius.
Sonic Frontiers music over Dust. I think Sonic Frontiers music would have fit very well.
Especially the moody stuff. It would have been really good.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That would have been great.
Controls and interface.
Oh, wait. Just in sound, one more thing.
Yeah.
If you're only using Fidget, which you should only use Fidget because you only need to use Fidget, you will have to turn the audio off because just every monster, especially when you get into fighting like soldiers, making their like harm cries every 3 seconds as you've just slaughtered a swath of enemies in 5 seconds is very annoying. Okay, sorry, keep going.
And I'll also tack on one more thing. The level up sound is satisfying. That's a
That
good
is
level
true.
up sound.
Strikes you with lightning. It startles me every time.
Oh, I mean when you put a skill.
Yeah.
point
Oh,
in,
yes.
yeah.
It's just like, ooh, that tickles my old brain.
My old brain. So controls and interface. I don't know. It's fine. Everything was.
Yeah.
We talked about the issue with the interface as far as your gear and knowing like whether or not it's an improvement if the store doesn't have it, etc.
Yeah,
that was kind of bad. And we already talked about how the flying move, controlling that was kind of just janky, and you would just go
There's
wherever.
no control.
Yeah. So I don't know if we have much more to say about that, unless you guys want to add something. No. Okay.
No.
I've said I want to say.
All right. Performance. We touched a little bit about that. I think we all played it on Steam Deck, except Austin did the desktop for 1 hour, right, Mox? Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fine on Steam Deck.
Yeah, agree. No issues. Everything worked pretty well. And then we already talked about how in the speed run there's some little glitches here and there that you can do to teleport and stuff.
Gosh. To destroy
I had
it.
one bug.
Uh-huh.
I had one bug I want to bring up.
Oh.
I found a buddy
Mm-hmm.
that was in a cage.
Which one?
I don't know. I couldn't open it.
Ah!
I had enough keys, and it was like, you need, I think it was 5 keys.
Mhm.
I had 11. It was like, nope, you can't open this.
Why? 5's greater than 11. Awesome.
Where was
It's
it?
like, do I have the wrong keys? I don't remember where it was, but I kept going around. I was like, let me leave the room and come back. I couldn't open it. I don't know why. I wasn't happy about that.
Yeah. All right. Spoilers tag. We're going to talk about that story. Mox, do you want to
Well, should I start at the end or should I build up to the story based on how we learned about it?
We don't have to go hash it all out, but I have a few things that I really don't like that I want to talk about. I don't like the classic Amnesia protagonist BS.
But it wasn't as classic, quote unquote, in this game. It made sense. It was explained. It had a story basis.
I was satisfied with the explanation.
That's fair. That's fair. It does.
It had a very, rooted in the story, fundamental to the story basis, the Amnesia. So I disagree with you entirely.
That's fair. I also didn't really like the ending, and I don't like the whole Star Wars-esque ending. Like, it ends very similarly to
I was thinking Lord of the Rings.
Star Wars Episode 3 or Lord of the Rings as well.
Right.
And I also don't like how it suggested that Dust is still alive, because, come on.
Okay, but that is also rooted in the story.
I know it is, but I don't like it. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
I don't like it. I would rather him pass on. Mox, you seem to like this story.
Leave it open for Dust Elysian Tale 2.
Oh my gosh.
Dust the Elysian Tales.
Oh, okay. They should hire you for naming.
Story. I didn't mind the story. I was definitely waiting for there to be Korean references. I think about halfway in the game, I just Googled Dust Elysian Tale Korea. And then it was a post on a Steam forum page where the dev responded saying, I'm half Korean. I just wanted to have some of my heritage in it, which is very adorable. And I liked that we started picking, at first it was hot dogs, hamburgers, ice cream. And then it was actual Korean food, which looked delicious. And I was excited about it, and some kinds of tea and things. Anyway, it was adorable. But I really was hoping there would be some sort of Korean history element. There was none.
Yeah.
But the story itself was, I think, inventive and original, which I liked.
True. It was original.
It was not derivative.
Okay. It was heavily inspired by other things, which makes sense. There's no such thing as an original story, really, right?
There's nothing new under the sun. Exactly.
That is very true. And the story of the combination of he's a combination of two people and blah 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 blah.
They died at the same time. An innocent person who was headstrong, and then a ruthless killer without a care in the world, and then combine their two souls into one person, and then have that person save the world. I think that's interesting.
Let me ask you this, Max. What about? Do you believe that the Lord Gaius, I think that was his name, the enemy? Mm-hmm. Do you think that he had a redemption arc at the end? Do you really think, did you believe that, even though we didn't interact with him that much?
He doesn't have a redemption arc.
Not a redemption arc, but...
Oh, he realizes he's obsolete. He's part of a world that doesn't exist anymore.
But, do you think it would have been better if Dust would have saved him? Like,
No,
would that
he
have
didn't,
mattered
but
at all?
that's the point. That guys took that decision out of his hands.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
Guys realized the world that he was fighting for alongside Cassius, Dust's like angry counterpart,
Right.
didn't exist and wouldn't exist. And so he was like, oh, I see there's no point in me being around anymore. I think that's an interesting story element.
Okay.
And and that seems realistic to me as like he's a soldier, you know? That's what soldiers do.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought it was very intriguing.
Austin?
I thought the story was fine. The end was definitely a lot of references all at once. It was like, hey, Lion King.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now here comes Star Wars. It was all over the place. I didn't mind it that much, but it was like
Long live
every
the
moment I was like,
king.
okay. The main part of the story I had I thought it was cool that it was the combination of these two souls. Like, I didn't really know how they were going to get, like,
Beyond Two Souls?
what's going on with him? Why is he wanting to help people? And, like, why does the sword want him to redeem himself after everything that he did? But even though everyone, like, it's like, clearly, whoever you are, you caused all this havoc and killed a bunch of people. It's like, okay, so what's going on there? So I was satisfied with what came out of that. The one thing that kind of drove me nuts was how did the innocent one kill the evil guy? Like it's okay, we've got this guy who's just helpless, can't really do much, going up one-on-one against this
trained super soldier,
amazing assassin super soldier. Yeah. And oh well, we killed each other. Like,
he had a knife in his hand. That was explained.
That is
He
true.
did.
That is true.
But I'm sure that this warrior has gone up against people who are a lot better trained with bigger weapons or like more stronger weapons. I
He
don't
used
know.
a butter knife.
It was just like, oh, they killed each other. Okay. It wasn't like, oh, he was too sure of himself and you know didn't expect, or he got caught off guard because of this or that. It was just like, yeah, and they killed each other.
Have you seen Pay It Forward?
No.
Okay. Well, it's a great film. But in the end, the kid gets stabbed with a knife that's probably an inch long, maybe a half an inch, in his like his belly, where there's a lot of fat there, and he dies from that. A half an inch little box cutter. I had the same.
And I can appreciate somebody very large and important dying from something so small. Like, I can appreciate that, but they don't even make a big deal about that here. It's just like, and it happened, and it's very matter of fact.
That's true. That is true.
They just kind of glaze
That is
over
true.
it, and that's what bothered me. But other than that, I didn't really have a problem with the story.
That's fair. All right, Mox, do you have anything else you want to share on the story before I turn off the spoiler tag?
Fidget was very unnecessary to 100% of the story.
Try telling that to Dust and Fidget when they're having their nice moments of, I need you, Fidget. I need you.
You're Dust. You're not anybody else. You're Dust.
Yeah, Fidget was very annoying.
Hey, don't hate on Fidget. Fidget's OP.
Oh my god. I mean, she is the real killer in this whole story.
Oh yeah.
A great weapon, terrible character.
Gosh.
And I didn't like how her wings flapped during the story sequences. It was very distracting to me.
Yeah.
I guess there was no way around it, but it wasn't my favorite. Okay, keep going.
No, if there's nothing more to add, Mox, I think you should share your overall conclusion. Your take.
I liked this game. It was easy to play, and I struggled at first because it scales pretty quickly, and if you aren't ready for it, and I was leveling up everything independently, I was dying a lot more, or at least getting very close to dying, and then not letting myself die, but just kind of resetting because there's 1,000 saves, more than I meant to, and for I don't know, between hours, probably 2 and 5, I just never had any health items because I was always using them, and you were incredibly poor at that time, and that was frustrating. But then after that, it scaled so quickly that I was just eradicating everything, and that was fun. I like being good at a game that doesn't necessarily require a lot of skill, but rewards you for like building things and doing exploration. And I did like, it told you if you had gotten all of the loot in an area. And although I'm not the biggest fan of what, like, you must backtrack. And sometimes you have to backtrack to the same area 2 or 3 times, either to confirm that you still need another ability that you don't have yet, or because there's a different area that requires a further on ability. And I know that's just like part and parcel of Metroidvania games.
Or Banjo-Tooie.
It's not my favorite. But I think the game did it pretty well. It wasn't super frustrating. You're right. I wish we had double jump.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably the first ability would have been nice. Like I could have done, I mean, you can like cheese it with the dust storm flying thing.
Yeah.
But it definitely doesn't want you to do that. And if you watch the speed run, it's like, oh gosh, they really don't want you to do that. But it's fun. And I didn't hate any part of the game. The story really only came into effect like probably the last half of it. I wish the cutscenes, the quests, the side quests were a bit more like story relevant. Instead, they were just mostly fetch quests.
Yeah.
I liked getting the little friends, but it definitely felt inaccessible at times. They like, I could not tell you where some of them were, even though there's like a circle in the area and it's like, oh, there's treasure here. And I'm like, I've explored every single corner of this map using the dust fly cheaty ability. I could not tell you where it is. And so that was kind of frustrating that it felt impossible to get 100%, but I also didn't feel compelled to do that. It was an okay game. I didn't hate it. I played it 17 hours and it was probably only unfun for like 4 of those.
Unfun.
So, yeah. I'd probably give it a 7. It could be better. Like the story could be more impactful. There were definitely, like you were saying, a lot of elements of like, oh, this writing is oblique.
Yeah.
To be kind. And it's just like, I don't know.
Okay.
This like the art's okay, but not great.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was fun though. Not bad.
7 out of 10 from Mox. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty mediocre game for me. I enjoyed the beginning quite a bit. The combat got super old, especially towards the end. Once I found the same strategy, I used it on every boss, almost every enemy. Yep. It was just electricity plus flying, basically.
Even the fire before that, same thing.
Yeah,
for the fire.
Yeah, for the fire, like pillars or whatever that you can do. Visuals were nice, and the music, like the main theme was good, and it matched the game, but it wasn't anything special. Gun to my head, I could not hum any of it,
I know.
as Mox would say. I don't know if I'll ever revisit this game again, but if I would definitely have done a higher difficulty. I think that would have made the game a bit more challenging, because towards the end, you just kind of mow everything down and you feel powerful, which is nice. It is a nice feeling to feel very strong and powerful, especially in a game where you level up instead of everything leveling up, like scaling with you, and you just feel weaker. Like you just feel weak if you haven't leveled up going into places versus feeling strong. But for me, I would give this a 6 out of 10. I enjoyed some parts of it, but it's not something that I don't know who I would recommend this to. Like maybe if you've played every Metroidvania, and I think, Austin, you made a good point of, well, at the time when this came out, there probably wasn't much to pick from. It is impressive, though, that this one guy made this game. Just all of it, it's very impressive. So that, like, the developer did a really great job, but it's just not for me. So
wait, I want to ask you,
please, before
you give your score, since you were trying to, and I'm going to ask Austin too, but he can just tell me without having me to ask. Did you go back and do any of there's like jump time trials basically where you have to get stars and you can have a higher score?
No,
like
I wasn't.
Did you do any of that? And would you go back and do those?
I wasn't interested in that. The little trials. Yeah.
I
wasn't interested. So no.
I did them anytime I found them, but I didn't like. I 4-starred some of them. If I didn't 4-star them, I didn't like try them again because I was just like, okay.
I'm surprised that you guys didn't like it more than it was, but it really wasn't that much. Okay, sorry, keep going.
No, you're good. Yeah, but anyway, like I said, 6 out of 10. That's what I would give it. Austin?
So I tried this out when it first came out in 2012, and it's been on my backlog since then. Like I basically reached the point where you unlock your first buddy, and I was like, I have to play more of this, and I stopped and years later,
Huh.
I picked it up on Steam, and I got to about the same point, and then I stopped again. And I was like, yeah, I should play more of this later. From a lens of 2012, like, this was an impressive game at the time. I think Metroidvanias have come a long way since then. They've
so
had
fun.
kind of a renaissance over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And they've moved very far forward and kind of left this in the dust. So while I appreciate what it was at the time, playing it now feels pointless. Other than to see kind of like where Metroidvanias were at the time and where the indie scene was at the time. And I just didn't have a great time with it. I think there were some unique ideas in there, like the way stat scaling works, and keeping your stats somewhat balanced with that, where, like, yeah, if you can just pile everything into attack and everything dies in one hit, that's overpowered, so we better make them dump some levels into some other stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was a unique idea. I liked that I didn't have to go to a person to craft after I first got through, like, that's like, meet them once, get the item, I can now craft just from my inventory, like, and I don't have to worry about going to farm items. If I find it once, I can start buying it, and if I don't have enough, I'll have more
Eventually.
later once the stores restock. Yeah, and you didn't even have to go to the store for those. You could just
True.
buy it also out of your inventory, which was super cool. I loved that. But yeah, in a lot of ways, it has aged poorly, and I agreed. I don't think I ever want to play this again, but I would be interested to see, like, if a Dust 2 came out. I would
The
be
Elysian
interested
Tales.
to see what that would be like. I think this guy has the chops to make something
Agree.
very good now. I think that he could take in everything that's been done over the last 10 years, and I would like to see that game. That would be cool to see. I think this was very competent for its time, and it's just aged poorly. So I would give it a 6 out of 10.
Mox, would you
as
play
well.
Dust 2?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This was fun. And if you had said, okay, is this game a game from 2 years ago, 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, I would have said, like, 5 years ago. Because it's not as bad as other older games
Very
that
true.
I've played, or even newer games.
Very true.
So I'm happy with it. I think the guys should make more games.
All right, Dean, you heard it. Make more games. Well, he's working on
It's
an
an order.
unannounced project right now, so
Good.
maybe it'll be announced soon, and it'll be Dust: The Elysian Tales.
You definitely have to write in and make sure that suggestion is forefront in his mind.
Yeah, let me tweet him. Gosh. All right, well, that was a little dive in our take on Dust: An Elysian Tale. And if you enjoyed hearing us discuss and want to join us for the next Video Game Club episode, stay put, because the vote just ended, and it was between Banjo... Oh, I should say the theme. It is sequels and prequels. And the games are Banjo-Kazooie, Zero Escape, Virtue's Last Reward. Is that the sequel to 999?
Yes.
Okay. And Axiom Verge 2.
Technically, it's the threequel if you count the chronological timeline, but in terms of release order, it's the sequel.
Oh my God.
Okay. Anyway, the winner is Banjo-Kazooie.
Yay.
So thank you everyone who voted. I'll get my Xbox packed up and drop it over at your house,
Oh my
Mox, so you
goodness.
can play the better version.
Oh, wow. That's intimidating.
If you're playing alongside, you play any version, but we recommend the Xbox
Yeah.
version because it's got some great quality of life improvements, but play any version you like.
but not the camera. Anyway, okay. So thank you everyone for joining us. Next episode will be February 19th at 2:00 Eastern. If you can't make the live session, don't worry. You can find it on YouTube, podcast services, all those fun things. Mox, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
And for playing this game.
Yeah, of course. It was good. I mean, well, it was mediocre for me, but some people liked it. Austin, thank you for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. And thank you so much to Andron for working behind the scenes. I'm Tyler. This was Video Game Club episode 64, Dust: An Elysian Tale, and we're out.